Really quickly, do you remember how Sam Brannan got everybody so excited to be in the gold rush? How?
He told somebody
No, he didn't. What did he do? Aaron.
He put gold sand in a bottle and
He ran up and down the streets. He put gold dust into the bottle and ran up down the street, and he's like, I've struck it rich. I found gold. I found gold. So everybody decided what? Heck yeah, they jumped on the bandwagon, didn't they? Okay? So your three choices of perspectives, one more time. There were also other merchants, remember, other than just Sam Brannan selling shovels, right? But you can do it one of three ways. Those who struck it rich, those who didn't make their fortune, and those who made a fortune but did it without ever having to look for gold. Okay? Questions? Yes?
Didn't he also sell wood to make houses?
Oh yeah, he just made a fortune by sitting back and gaining wealth off of everyone else. Okay? Any questions? Okay, so go ahead with your groups, start discussing and start deciding what it is that you want to do. Remember, while you're doing this, as we talk about perspective, remember, you have to look at the big picture and you have to be willing to take everybody's perspective into account. Okay? Go ahead. What is it that he started with, or what were you doing? He did. He touched gold, didn't he? That's one of the main things. But also look at his senses as far as he touched gold. What about people? What did he hear? He heard yelling, right? He heard excitement. Exactly. Right. So, and he did all of that, didn't he? Right? How did he feel? Okay, so that's thoughts and feelings. So go ahead and start charting it out as far as what it is that you think should be done as far as your census. Okay? Okay, so what is your idea? What would you prefer to do? Huh? About the people who discovered gold and made it rich? Okay, now remember when you're doing that, you start with your 5 senses. So when you're doing it, start making a list now of the different senses that you use, okay? Think about all of the things that they felt. And remember, you're going the happy right? So think about when you're doing the 5 senses, think about all the things that he saw, that he heard, that he felt, that he touched or whatever, that led up to that. Of course he touched gold, right? So he touched gold, but what else did he touch? Money. He touched lots of money. What else? Shovels. What else? Wood. What else? What did he hear?
The dirt. Oh yeah, the zombie.
He heard people screaming, "Get your hood off your head." What else did he hear? Okay, he heard digging. That's absolutely. Now let me ask you this. Do you think that what he heard as far as the yelling and the screaming at the beginning of the gold rush was the same kind of yelling and screaming that he heard at the end of the gold rush? Why not? How did that change? Nobody could find the gold, so the perspective of even the people changed, the behavior changed over time, didn't it? We just talked about the fact that Sam Brannan heard yelling and stuff at the beginning. Did that change over time? Yes. Was the yelling the same in the beginning as it was in the end? No.
Sorry.
Well, no, the yelling. How do you think when people at the beginning, Joanna, at the beginning, the yelling that people did, what was that like? What kind of yelling was that? Woohoo! All excited, right? Yay! Was it the same at the end? No. Probably a lot of really unhappy people with their shovels, weren't there? All right, continue. Which perspective? Sam Brannan? Okay. So what did he feel? What did he see? What did he hear? Okay, start with your senses. He felt gold, didn't he? What else? No, I mean that's more of a thought and a feeling, right? That was more of a thought thought and a feeling if he felt cool, but do you really think he felt cool? He might have felt a little sneaky, but if he felt mean, do you think he would have done it? No. Okay, so be careful when you're describing that. Think about, what did he sell? So did he touch shovels? Right? What else?
He touched the bottles of gold.
He touched bottles of gold. What about after, Alex, off the desk, what about after he sold all those shovels? What did he touch an awful lot of? Money, right? Have you ever smelled money? Have you ever watched somebody on a movie or whatever who holds up that pack of money and he's like, yeah, money doesn't smell very good, does it? But it may, somehow when you have a lot of it, it smells a lot better than when you don't. Okay, those who got rich. Okay, so what are some of the things that they did? They wanted to be well. But what actions did they take to become rich? Okay, more. I need more than that. What are some of the things that people did in order to become rich? They would buy stuff, they would make plans, right? They thought about it. What about traveling? Now think about it. If they were on the East Coast and had to go all the way out west in order to be able to strike gold, was that something that they could just jump on a train and go? No, because remember, the Continental Railroad wasn't built until after everybody had their business, right? So what did they do? How did they get to where they were going? Remember? No? How did the people get from one end? They got there by wagons, right? They walked. Huh? They didn't have cars, did they? So was it an easy jump in and go? No, this took days and days and days. Was there tons of planning behind this? Or do you think they just figured it out really quick? Right. Now remember, this probably, we're talking seasonal change, lots of time going across there, right? So this was not easy taking their entire family, right? Okay, so go back and start down here. Talk about what they saw. Talk about what they felt. Talk about the things that led to the actions that they took. Okay? Absolutely. What are some of the other things that they were feeling? You just won $1 million.
Money.
You're proud? What else? Okay, you can put a little more active, but we know you're sad, but this is, what? How did they feel about getting rich? They were sad, so keep going. I want to be rich. What else? He made plans, right? His thoughts were what? How can I get rich without having to dig, right? So, was he feeling kind of sneaky? Was he feeling scheming? Yes. So, that goes, the scheming part goes more with the what? With the actions, right? Okay? So his actions were what? He schemed, he made plans, he figured out a way to be able to create this madness for gold and not have to do anything and still be rich. What? Okay. And his thoughts were LOL, laugh that loud. Absolutely. What did he sell?
Shovels.
He does shovels. What about people's hands? Thank you for your business. I appreciate it. Right? Remember, everything was done on handshakes back then, right? So what else did he touch? What did he hear? And he heard the shovels. What else did he say? Well, that's more of a thought and feeling. But what did he? When people would come into a shop, right? What would he hear? talking, right? How about how about money rattling in his pocket? Would he hear that? Yes, he'd hear the change in his pocket, right? What else would he hear? People excited. All right. What else? Remember we talked about how they traveled, right? So wagons. He would hear wagons outside of the shop. Horses. Absolutely. How about children? Adults. Right? Okay, well let's go now and move up to the thoughts and the feelings that he had. Okay? What are some of his thoughts and feelings in the beginning, even to the end? Now in the beginning though, he was more what? Do you think he was curious if he could do it, right? So curious is a great thought or feeling. He was feeling curious, right? What were some of the other thoughts that you think he might have? Thinking, nervous. That's a great one. Am I going to be able to pull this off? Right? Good job. Think of another one. What's something else? Huh? Worried. Why was he feeling worried? He didn't know, right? What about you're planning all of this elaborate scheme and you don't know how people are going to react to the end, right? So what happens if everybody had come back and turned on you? Right? Okay? What if they had found out? So nervous is a great thought or feeling. Okay? What else? I think he was excited. Why? He was excited at the thought or the prospect of making a lot of money, right? But that also goes back to being worried and nervous because what if his plan did not work out? Would he have made that fortune? No. Good job. Keep going. And we'll continue this on Tuesday. Now, my thoughts for you are this. I'm watching a lot of you doing Sam Brannan, okay? Which is awesome. Some of you doing the people who struck it rich, and I think one group who's doing the people who didn't make anything at all. One last bit of thing for you to think about over the weekend while you're doing this is when you're talking about hearing and touching and the five senses, remember, you can go as deep as, did they hear horses and wagons? Sam Brannan, was he nervous? So go through and tie all of those things together. All right? Any questions? No. Okay, so what I want you to do for now is I want you to transfer any information that you have on a whiteboard. Go ahead and if you want, just write it on the back of your piece of paper. You don't need to rush it. So, but you want to mark those thoughts down so that you don't lose your place, okay?
Okay, what were you teaching?
So I was teaching about the westward expansion and the gold rush and how people got so excited thinking that they would become extremely wealthy very quickly, where in actuality it was exactly the opposite turnout.
And why were you teaching it the way you did?
Because I have found that if they work in collaborative groups together, that their ideas flow out more easily and they can kind of piggyback and feed on each other.
Please dismiss all the students that ride the yellow bus 451. The yellow bus 451.
And it gives all of the kids an opportunity to be a little bit more successful. If they tend not to know how to initiate something, it kind of gives them a road to feed into so that they can figure out where it is that they need to go.
Okay, and what do you think? Did I already say, what do you think worked about the lesson?
No. I think working a lesson like this, using a ladder of inference, which is what I did, which is from systems thinking, kind of gives the kids an opportunity to go a little bit deeper, and it helps them to organize their thoughts. So I think that works really well. I think trying to get them to learn different perspectives helps them to realize that not everything is just one way.
Okay, great. And do you have any advice for future teachers?
My biggest advice is just be willing to fail, because if you aren't willing to fail, then you can never learn from your mistakes and do better things with it.